Okay, doing a video on the Harbor Freight flooring nailer. The first one I bought was the gray one, and I had problems with that and returned it. I think it's Central Pneumatic that makes these, and this they're rebranded as Banks, which is Central Pneumatic. So this one actually looked the same. They might have done some improvements on the inside, but the bolts here for the handle were the same. The magazine retainer bolt is the same. The release is the same. The problem I had with my first one is when I would use it, this would pop open, and then I would have no pressure against the cleats, and it would misfire and jam up. This one's jammed up a couple times, but not so much anymore. I think it was just needing to be broken in. If this Banks unit does turn out to be a turd, I'll let you know, but I'll do it a succession of videos, at least one more if it does turn into a waste of money. But you got to keep them oiled. And if you look in the back side, you can see some of the oil coming down. I got to clean that up so it don't get in the wood. But one thing that was bothering me, I'd be nailing along and forget to check my load, right? And I'd run out of nails, and I'm dry firing. So I'm like, why the hell didn't they put a sight in here so you can see the magazine to see where you're sitting for your levels? So I took a closer look at it and decided what I was going to do is drill this out. So if you take a look at this, I can always take a glance at this thing, and I can tell where I'm sitting on my levels. Okay, so you got to be careful doing this. I used, I think, a 1/8 inch drill bit, but basically I open up the magazine and drilled some holes through here, some sight holes. Okay, and now let me know when I'm running low on ammunition for the floor. So you got to be careful going into this that you don't go into the magazine on the back side or any of the slides and jam them up. You got to be very careful doing this. So if you're going to do this, you don't want to drop your drill bit further than the thickness of the metal. So you got to be careful, right? And then that's going to give you sight holes, okay? That's going to allow you to see your levels. Now, I don't know why they didn't do that to begin with. It's probably because half the engineers that make anything anymore don't use anything they design. But you know how I feel about engineers, so don't get me started on that. If you do this, be real careful, like I said, and then vacuum out all the shavings so you don't have them getting down into the tool, down into the shoe, and making a mess. So. One thing on these, I can tell you, you've got to oil them about every hour. Now, they say in the instructions to oil them once a day. No, you want to oil this thing through the intake here on the airline. Just a couple drops. I would do it about every hour. So keep these mechanisms lubricated, because if you don't, what can happen is you wind up getting a dry, I'm not going to take this apart, but if you get a jam, you have to take this off. And this is just a protective plate. You don't have to remove these screws, just these 4, and this plate pops out. And this is just, I think, it's a protective plate. That's all it serves as far as I can tell. But up inside here, there's a mechanism that drives the nails and cleats. So it's got to be oiled. Now, you can drop a drop of oil in here and let it sit upside down for about 5 minutes. You could do that. And that's what I did when I first got it. And then oil it from the intake on the compressor side. So. And then wipe it down. You don't want to get oil on your floor. But if I had to do it all over again, we'll see how this goes. But honestly, if I had to do it all over again, I would buy a, Boss Stitch, or, I might even consider a Campbell Hausfeld. But hindsight's 20/20. I own this thing now, second time, and it is what it is. So. Hopefully this helps some people out. I can see my levels now where I'm going along and I'm getting low. And there you have it. So, all right. Make sure you oil your device, run your correct pressures. I think no more, max is about 90 pounds. I'm driving 3/4 inch oak with, I think it's 2-inch cleats. And another thing is if you can get higher quality cleats, do it. 1.5-inch cleats. I highly recommend spending the money on better caliber nails and cleats. This is just what I'm going to say. It ain't worth, you know, you're saving $4 on some cleats or $3 on some nails. It ain't worth the downtime when you're dealing with jams, I can assure you. So, there it is. So this is kind of where I'm sitting right now. Another thing, if you're going to be doing flooring, get the wider boards. It's 50% less nails. I like the narrow board look, but man, if I could go back and do it over again, I'd go with the wider boards instead of these narrow ones. But they do give more character to the floor if you take a look here. Just a lot more work, 50% more work. So when we get her all done, I'll be happy, but it's going to take me some time to get all this done. So, all right, over and out.